Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films, and we are, screw it, hey, we're back. Delicious in Dungeon, final episode of Season 1. I was gonna start over the intro, but then I thought, why would I do that? I leave in me screwing up anyway. Welcome back to Delicious in Dungeon. Last time around, we had Griffin Soup and Dumplings Part 1, where, Senshi relayed his backstory to the gang, where he and his fellow dwarves had discovered this dungeon and were attacked by what seemed to be a griffin, and one time, after an argument between two of his seniors, I suppose, only one of them came back and fed him some meat as he was starving, and for many, many years, Senshi had carried the guilt of, did he consume griffin meat, or did he actually consume the meat of his friend? And eventually, Laios was able to figure out that not only did he not eat a griffin, he didn't eat a person either. He instead had hippogriff meat. And that was the actual thing that had attacked them originally. So yeah, Senshi is not accidentally a cannibal, so that's good. And then, after making some dumplings, I guess they did that a little bit later, but they accidentally stepped inside a circle of specific mushrooms that transformed them, and so all of their races have swapped. Senshi is now an elf, Marcel is now a half-foot, Laios is now a dwarf, Chilchuk is now a tall man, and Izutsumi is now I think they said a kobold. So things are not looking well for the gang. And they made it to the door to the next layer. So now they're going to hopefully find the winged lion and hope somewhere along the way they can get back to their normal races. But this is the last episode of the season. I'm really going to miss this. I've really enjoyed this. I don't think it's fully sunk in yet that I'm not going to have more Delicious in Dungeon after this. At least not until next year when Season 2 comes out. So I'm excited for Season 2, definitely, but we're going to have to wait for it. Also, the other Season 2 that's coming out next year is Free Run, and I'll be excited to get to that as well. So we're in good hands for next year. As for what's going to be replacing Delicious in Dungeon on the Thursday time slot, I really don't know. I still haven't come up with an idea yet. Obviously, probably by the time you guys are watching this, I will have an idea, and I will already be working on it. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea really. There's a part of me that wants to, I have a couple ideas in mind. Someone suggested Dr. Stone. Someone, I was thinking also of Kaiju number 8 could be fun. But there is also a part of me that thinks, I kind of want to keep up the medieval fantasy going. We've been doing this for about a year. We went through all of Season 1 of Free Run and now all of Season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. I kind of want to keep the medieval fantasies going. And there is a series that has kind of caught my eye as of late. And I need to just kind of look up. I know it's an isekai, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. So. And I mean, there's a number of episodes, but I was going to look up. I was thinking actually about ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, which I know is an isekai, but I know it's a sort of, I guess, kind of dark isekai. I know it's a very brutal world that this guy gets thrown into. So it's not your normal, this guy's thrown into this video game RPG world. And now this is a lot of episodes. 25 in Season 1, 25 in Season 2. That's 50 already, so that's a year's worth. Then 16 in Season 3. So I don't know. I might do that. I might not. Either way, I will think of something in the next week. Maybe I'll be talking about it on Twitter, which again, by the time you watch this, I will have probably already decided. So yeah, I guess there was really no point in talking about all that because it's already going to be decided by the time you watch this. So cool. I just wasted everyone's time. So, let's not waste any more time. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Delicious in Dungeon. Here we go. Oh, good friggin' grief, man. You know, it's a ridiculous plan, but I mean, what else would this show do? This show has to end with a gigantic... Because, I mean, I literally thought about it. I was like, you know, with all this stuff, it's like, are we going to get a big epic shonen battle with the Mad Mage? And then I thought about it, it's like, it's weird to think about because it's honestly not what this show does best, you know? And granted, the fight with the dragon was great, you know? But the whole thing is that, I mean, there is always generally a fight with a monster, and then they cook it, and then they eat it. But, I don't know. So it's just like, it was weird to think about, but, I mean, that whole red dragon thing, that was like a good, 2 episodes before, it was at the end of the second episode that they finally had a meal, you know? So that's the thing, you know? But here, we have the idea, at least. So, the plan is awaken the winged lion, subdue the mad mage, cut Fallon out of the red dragon, and eat it so that it cannot be a part of her again. And also, I guess, use the mad mage to cure Izutsumi. All this and more next season. Which, I guess that is the question, is I wonder how long this show is gonna go, you know? Because, I don't know, man. I don't know. It could go a while. I don't know. I mean, we looked up that the manga did end, but the manga is already finished, so I don't know how long the show is gonna go, but it's such a weird plan, but at the same time, I don't know, I guess I don't know what else I would expect from this show, because it's like that, yeah, the plan is to cook and eat the entirety of the red dragon. Okay, yeah, I guess. It's just so ridiculous, man. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. To consume all of the red dragon. Man, you know, just from that last little bit with Thistle and Fallon, where it's like, you know, Fallon was just about ready to eat that little mushroom man. And then, you know, Thistle's like, don't you dare eat that. It's just like, I do want a bit more backstory on Thistle, because it's just like, I don't know, I'm curious, what, I mean, you know, the whole thing, we already know that it's like, well, they were the court jester, and, you know, childhood friend, basically, of King Delgal. Then Delgal appointed him the mage, the court mage, once he became king, and in his quest of immortality, mainly for everyone else, it drove him mad. But it's just like, I'll be very curious to see, it's like, what are his thoughts on the inner workings of a dungeon, you know? Because, yeah, it's just like, why wouldn't? Because at this point, Fallon, I guess you could maybe even say, is more animal than human, I suppose. I don't know. But, you know, this is completely random. I just want to put it out there. I like that Laios is 26 years old, you know? And I don't just say that because I'm 28 years old. Of course, when I started this series, I was 27. I had my birthday since then, but I'm 28 years old. And here's the reason why I like that, though, is because I like he's not just a teenager, you know? I feel like most anime would make him a teenager, but I like making him a young man, you know? And even still, it's like he's a young man, but in a sense, he's in his mid-20s now, you know? So I don't know why I like that. And also, isn't he then only a year younger than Chilchuck? So, oh, good grief, man. Good friggin' grief. But yeah, But luckily they figured out how to use the mushrooms, how the mushrooms actually work, which that makes sense. Like that was a good point that Chilchuck made, where it's just like, you would think that these things would be like, these things would be highly sought after if they can permanently change your species. So it's just like, there must be something temporary about it. And it's like, I see. It's just, you have to get all the spores and everything off of you. You wash off, it will change you back to normal. So, that was good. I'm glad for that. It was a fun little thing, but I'm glad that's not fucking permanent or anything. So I like that they were able to figure that out. As well as the fact that because they have all the spores, by creating a ring of themselves, they could transform the gargoyles. And then I even like, Senshi using that as well, where it's just like, one of them became this like giant like stone coin basically with its mouth kind of open. It's like, that's a ring. You stick the dumplings in there. There you go. Now it's different food, Which it needed to be different food because Izutsumi is so fucking picky. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but I do like that Senshi basically takes that as a challenge, It's like, alright, so Izutsumi, she doesn't want the same thing twice in a row. Which, I mean, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I'm guilty of that, my lunches are generally... My breakfasts and my lunches are about the same between each day. Like, I vary it up just a little bit, but not much. Dinner is a bit different. But there are sometimes, like, especially over the weekend, where it's just like, Friday I'll have, like, a Whataburger, and then Saturday I'll have, like, a Brahms burger, and then Sunday I'll accidentally have, like, a homemade burger, and it's just like, great, 3 burgers in a row, thanks. Even though I do have my limits sometimes where I'm just like, okay, I cannot eat another friggin' burger. Now, luckily, the only thing about that I will at least give credit for is that generally when I eat, like, multiple burgers, like, when I eat burgers, like, multiple days in a row, I will go to a different place. Because, I mean, every place makes a different kind of burger. Like, you can't say that a McDonald's burger is exactly the same as a Whataburger. Of course, I guess if you don't live in the South, you may not have had a Whataburger. I'm kind of geolocating myself a little bit, but yeah, it's like every place basically has a different burger. So I went to Los Angeles over the summer, and I had In-N-Out for the first time, and from what I remember, it was good. I don't remember everything about it, but from what I remember, I enjoyed In-N-Out Burger. So, but yeah. And I try not to go to McDonald's that much because their burgers are they're not great, but they're not amazing, but honestly they barely pass as food. However, the year before, and we'll get back to the episode in a sec, but the year before last year, I went to Portland, and I flew to Portland. And I soon discovered that I have plane sickness, basically. Like, I am a wreck when the plane takes off. Like, I get sick to high heaven, and it's ridiculous. And then, once the plane lands, I take a minute, and then I can generally collect myself. Well, I also need some fucking medication. So, but cutting most of this short, we land in Portland. And once we land, I'm fine. I get up, and my dad goes out that night to get some food, and there's just a McDonald's nearby, so he gets McDonald's, and I'm like, yeah, I might as well eat some, because I barely ate anything that day because I was so sick. So I was like, okay, give me one burger from McDonald's, I guess. And when he brought it back, and I ate it, that was one of the most delicious burgers I've ever had in my life. Not because it was any different from a normal McDonald's burger, but because I was starving to death, I was like Senshi when he was eating the hippogriff soup, and he's just like, I was like, this might be my friend, but I am dying, and it's like that's what it was like eating that burger. I was just like, because I was so hungry. I remember when we got back from Portland, we got back late at night, after that. The plane landed at like 11 o'clock. We finally get home, and it's like 12:30 in the morning when we get home. And I was so hungry, and I ate like half a bag of Cheetos because I was so hungry. And then I was a little worried eating all of that because I was like, I'm so hungry, but like, is this going to be bad for me? And I was so worried that I wasn't going to like sleep properly. And as soon as I went to bed, I conked out, and I stayed asleep really fucking long. I was knocked the fuck out because I was exhausted. It's probably the most exhausted I've ever been in my life because of how sick I was and how little I ate that day. And it was to the point where my parents had to go pick up the dog from the dog sitter that we had. And when I woke up that morning, the dog just walked by my room, and I was like, oh, I didn't hear them leave. I didn't wake up at all. So anyway, so I guess I on a level, I do relate to Senshi being so fucking starving that he was just like, I might be a cannibal, but oh my god. It's like, it's either this or I'm dying right here, so. And luckily he wasn't a cannibal. And that McDonald's burger wasn't the worst thing in the world, So yeah, all that to say, Izutsumi is a challenge, so. She's a challenge, but a challenge that Senshi is willing to face. So yeah, and then we got a bit of backstory about Laios and Fallon, which I hope we hear a bit more of with Fallon, because it's like, because the whole thing of like, well, she was shunned for her magical abilities, in their hometown, and, even when she was at magic school, she still was very, very lonely. Like, not many people went up to her except Marcel, Marcel was the only one who became her friend. But it's interesting that she would then leave Marcel in the Magic Academy and go with Laios, But that was interesting that Laios had enough of his hometown and the people there, so he just left, joined the army. That didn't work, so he was like, fuck this, and just went and started taking odd jobs, And it's like Chilchuk said, it's like, I didn't expect him to be a deserter, but that's where he got these skills, that's where, which makes sense, honestly, that's where he got these skills, with combat and fighting, as well as how to cook and everything, not how to cook monsters, but just how to generally cook, how to survive sort of in the wilderness, it makes sense that he got all those skills from the army. So, but he was pretty much alone, just taking odd jobs until going and getting Fallon, and then the two of them eventually made it to the dungeon. And yeah, it's like, he talks about, it's like, oh, there was a lot of gold stripping, when the dungeon was first truly discovered. And so it's not that, well, they went to this dungeon to get gold and get rich quick. It's like, no, they just took the jobs of guarding the people that were getting all that gold, And it's like, that's interesting. That's a really interesting thing. I like that, honestly. I like that backstory. It's the kind of shit I would think of if I was, like, in a medieval fantasy. It's like, fuck people, fuck the army, fuck governments and stuff. Like, let me just, I don't know, I'm just gonna go do some odd jobs and survive, So that was interesting. I like that. And yeah, now we have our plan. Now we have our plan to eat the dragon. We need enough people to eat the entirety of the dragon. And it's like, oh, we need, one last little small, mid-sized group. It's like, well, the elves, you gotta convince them. You gotta convince them that eating the red... I mean, they might go for that. It's like, well, eating the red dragon will fully kill the red dragon, essentially. Like, it can never be brought back. And it's like, well, it's just like that could work. What a fascinating idea that it's just like, oh, how do you stop resurrection? It's like, well, the digestion, Granted, I mean, Fallon was digested and they brought her back, but But I guess because she wasn't big, well, her bones weren't digested, so The bone, I don't know. It just depends on... I guess the thing is the meat. Because, like, you can't just bring bones back to life. You have to have a body to go with it. So that's the thing. If the red dragon, if they take all the meat from the red dragon, the bones cannot be brought back anyway. The soul of the red dragon might still be tied to the bones. But then again, would the soul of the red dragon still be tied to Fallon? It's just maybe Fallon has more control if she's just human at that point, you know? I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about, but yeah, that is the end of Season 1. That is the end of Season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. I've really enjoyed this past year of medieval fantasies between this and Freeren, and I kind of want to keep going with that. So I'm going to look around. I'm going to see what would be, and maybe it won't be a medieval fantasy, but I'm going to see what would be what would be a good series for next week. But stay tuned. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe in the end card, I'll go ahead and reveal what we're doing next week. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Delicious in Dungeon reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.